Lou Hamilton from Audible Elegance in Cincinnati, Ohio. And our store is located in Old Montgomery, but some people do call it Cincinnati. We're located on Montgomery Road, a few doors north of the original Montgomery Inn. And across the street from Montgomery Cyclery, we have free parking in the back of our building and a rear entrance, very convenient for everyone. We've done another video on what it took to repair this table to get it back into operating condition and the mount the cartridge that he purchased elsewhere. And this raised an interesting problem that we deal with all the time. And I refer to it as the cost of saving money. And the reason I call it that is that while on paper it looks like a promising move, the execution of it can change things dramatically. The Ortofon Bronze cartridge is a nice cartridge, don't get me wrong. But with the cost of servicing, repairing, and now mounting the cartridge, he actually could have had a superior cartridge in either the Riga ND5 or ND7. And that's what reason I refer to it as the cost of saving money, because he tried to do well for himself, no bones about that. But when things go awry, you actually wind up in a lesser place than you could have been if you just paid a little bit more. This again was kind of another addition to the OCD guy talking about someone going out and buying a used amplifier or pair of monoblocks. And I think the retail on the amplifier or amplifiers was like $30,000. And the guy managed to find a used set, at least he thought he had an equivalent used set, for like $20,000. And I'd love to sell something at that price all the time. But what he ended up with was a older version. So he wound up sending his $20,000 pair of amplifier in, and wound up spending $5,000 to have it upgraded as far as possible to what the new ones, would be. But now he's only saved essentially $5,000, but he has no warranty. And what type of support, is OCD guy going to give him when, he presented the product and tried to do everything? Now, that's clearly OCD guy's choice, how he wants to handle his customers. But it just throws up all sorts of red flags. Here, we're not talking $20,000. We're talking the difference of $100 or $200. But with how it all panned out, that savings wound up costing him a better position. So that's when I say, the cost of saving, can really be brutal sometimes. Now, really think about where you want to end up being, particularly if you attempt to do it yourself. I've done a lot of things DIY myself. I used to rebuild MGs, and kind of a funny story in a way. I had a master cylinder that froze on an MG, so I took it to somebody and said, I can take care of it. And he brought his air gun out to try to unseize it. He wound up breaking his air gun. He couldn't unseize it. So I was kind of screwed, and I was sitting out front, and I decided, well, if it goes one way, I can go the other. So I just took one end of the pin and pounded it into the concrete, and it popped, But here I wound up costing somebody something, probably would have been better for both of us to simply get a new master cylinder. So I wound up hurting somebody, and I really didn't intend to do that. Did I get it working? Yes, but I was not proud of it. And so those are the sort of things you got to think about. And so there are times when it's best to leave it in somebody else's hands and go from there. That's all I can suggest. It's your money and your call. Thanks.